Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Running on Low Ink podcast with me, Evan, Division 2 player from the team Static Intelligence, and
Me, Doc Lewis, aka Dan, from Nameless, a Division 2 team. So, yeah. I guess they were going to talk about the Sheldon's picks. So, yeah. Evan, get it underway.
All right. Today we're going to be talking about the Sheldon's picks weapons and what we think each weapon should get and what we want it to get. So yeah, I'll just start us right off with the heavy splatling. So the backliners haven't really had that's had Toxic Mist, and we saw that panned out didn't really go too well because it also got an aggro special. I'm talking about the ballpoint. Got Toxic Mist Inkjet. Missed on backliners another try. Since the heavy already has two very solid kits, very unlikely it will get another third meta pick. But I think another kit that could be solid on it is Toxic Mist, because it suits the backline role pretty well, helping your teammates. Throw the Toxic Mist out there. Slows people down. It's always a good way to stop pushes on Rainmaker. Let's even just slow down the tempo for a moment so your team can get back into the battle. To coordinate this kit with special, Booyah Bomb. Booyah Bomb is I think a very interesting special weapon, especially since it just got buffed recently. Things now, it spaces out enemies. It paints a decent portion of the map. It just clears out a whole area for a good 2 seconds. So, yeah, I think the synergy of this kit would be really interesting. You got Toxic Mist. You could even throw a Toxic Mist before you Booyah Bomb to get someone into the Toxic Mist to Booyah Bomb to assure kills and put on more pressure to the other enemies. Interesting for a backliner, and especially a weapon like a heavy splatling, which can paint a lot of the map and could get a decent amount of specials. Like, it'd be getting the Booyah Bomb. It would be very interesting for the heavy splatling. I'd like to see it in the... Oh, that's my idea. Dan, what do you want on the heavy?
Alright, so the heavy splatling, other than Charger's, probably the best backline in the game right now, since Ballpoint did get a bit nerfed, so it's not literally an overpowered powerhouse and shit. So, obviously, Sprinkler and Walls are already taken, which probably is the two best sub-weapons you can give heavy. So, because of that, I'm thinking... So, when you add the Ballpoint Nouveau, beacons on it were insanely good because, it can move to different backup positions really fast and just place them down anywhere. So, now I'm thinking about it. A lot of backline positions are also good beacon spots. So, why not give another backliner beacon? So, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking beacon for the heavy splatling remix. Again, like, it worked well on the ballpoint. Why can it not work well on another splatling? Because, you can just go around to different backline spots, place down beacons, and yeah, and so on. Like, it's just a really good pick for a backliner. Yeah. So now, to the special. For the special, yeah, same as Evan, I would like the Booyah Bomb. Because the heavy already gets Stingray and Bubbles really fast. Being able to spam Booyah Bomb, which is a very annoying special when spammed, I think would be really good for the weapon. And not only that, Booyah Bomb did get the buffs, like Evan said, and probably right now it's not as bad as it used to be. It's still not the best, but it's definitely the next best thing you could probably give to the heavy without, like, trying to kill its, like, a backline playstyle. Since it's really good at painting, it can get kills now. Like, if someone's in it, like, it kills. Like, unless you're, like, at the edge of it and you're able to get out of it, you're dead if you're in it, basically. So, in my opinion, this kit would be really good for it. It would make it a really solid backliner, be able to place beacons everywhere and just be able to spam Booyah Bombs. And probably would not be meta since the first two are just that good. But I think it would be a nice niche pick if you just want to run something weird. But yeah, Evan, I guess now we
Now
want to move on to the Grim Range. Yeah.
Onto the Grim Range. I think everyone's wanting it. I think it's pretty obvious. Give the thing Burst Bomb. Give it more combos. Paint. It helps it paint. It helps it out with painting a lot. Take that much of your ink tank, so it wouldn't be extremely ink hungry. It wouldn't be OP either because the range blaster definitely is not as good as the main weapon in this game as it was in the first game. About just securing kills, get faster kills, or get it more specials, and yeah. Moving on to the special, since I really want to give this thing a splat bomb to make it like the CRB in the first game. I wanna even it out. I want to give this thing a splat bomb rush, so it does have the splat bombs to combo with and to very good for spacing. Much like the Ink Storm, but not as effective in my opinion. But it could work for the range blaster. Painting a whole lot of the map if you use it to take back map control. For pushing in and like Rainmaker and Clan Blitz, I think, like those modes. Very interesting combo. Not the best, I guess you could say. Not the most scary, but I think it would definitely give the range blaster a chance to some part of the spotlight in this game. But yeah, Dan.
All right, so yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with Evan. Probably the best sub you can give this thing is just Burst Bomb. Like, it worked very well in the first game. It obviously is gonna work here. Burst Bomb's not on many meta weapons, but if you give it to a range blaster, like a blaster with a Burst Bomb, is just hell on earth. So yeah, obviously it helps with painting. Pretty much all the things Evan said, I would say as well. So I think we can just move on to the special now. So for the special, I'm not thinking Splat Bomb Rush. Like, I know Splat Bomb Rush would be a nice thing to back to the first game, but what I'm thinking that will make this more match so more or less maybe combine the CRB and the Grim from the first game. Pretty much the closest special of Kraken, Baller. So Baller would help. So Baller would help it become like a midline baller weapon, which right now we really only have Slosher Deco. That's like really the Slosher Deco and the Kenta Rapid. Those are the really good ones. If this thing became a thing, the Kenta Rapid would probably just not really be seen as much because Burst Bomb plus Range Blaster would be insane. And like, yeah, and then I don't know how it would fare against the Slosher Deco, but I think it'd put up a good fight. So honestly, this kid would just be really good at killing. And would not, if it gives it low points for Baller, he could be able to get Baller decently. So it's just the Burst Bombs help it a bit. But if it definitely gets this kit, I think it could probably have a spot in the meta. Not even kidding. So now to move on to the literal trash can, the Aerospray. Go ahead, Evan.
The kit I have for the Aerospray is thing you can give it. Maybe not the best possible thing you can give it because the other two kits do take away some of the good subs and specials that are possible for this thing. But I mean, you saw those don't really work for the weapon anyways. The best possible sub weapon you can give this thing, in my opinion, bomb. And that is because this thing is a painting machine. Burst bombs would only be that much. Burst bombs would just make it that much worse. It would help it secure kills a lot, which is why I think this thing needs to be on it for it to even have a chance. Because this thing is so bad at killing, such bad RNG, 5-shot kill, burst bombs could really help it out with that. Because it's easy to hit the person 2 or 3 times with it. You just hit them with the burst bomb. There you go. You finish off the kill. You don't have to hope on your RNG and pray on it to hit the next 2 shots. There you go. Instant 60 damage to kill. It'd be a really good combo with Aerospray, and it'd help it out a lot. Since, this is an Aerospray and it spams any special it gets, I want to give this thing Booyah Bomb. That much more. Securing kills better because of the patch. So on and so on. And even better, it spams the thing because it's an Aerospray. And if they make the points, because it's not the best special, but I think if they make the points like low enough, maybe make it like 180. I think that'd be fair. to make Booyah Bomb on Aerospray. Yeah, so give this Burst Bomb Booyah Bomb. I think it has like shot at for once not being F or D tier in this game. So yeah, Dan.
So okay, as I was said, like the first two Aerosprays take away some of the good stuff in specials, and in general, both of them don't even work at all. But a lot of people are gonna call me weird on this, but I want to see Fizzy on it, and I'll explain with the special as well. But this thing already paints like insane. Just give it the best painting stuff in the game, and now basically have a weapon that can literally paint the whole map like it's nothing. And Fizzy is good at getting chip damage. I'm not saying this is going to make the thing an Aerospray killing machine, but it could help in a sense where the Aerospray can stay back and just use just use Fizzies, and it can pair up with a teammate or something, more like a support weapon, and just throw a Fizzy and just pair up to help them get a kill. Or even if a weak opponent, you can just still charge them because the Aerospray is good at killing at close range. So if someone's going to run away or someone's rushing you, if you just throw a Fizzy on the ground and shoot, you can still get the kill. So in my opinion, Fizzies would just make this thing even better at painting and just help it with the killing, which is obviously its weakest point. Now for special, this is why I wanted to get Fizzy. With Fizzy and an Aerospray, you can get any special really fast. So what if they gave it armor? So armor right now is probably one of the best specials in the game. The other one being Baller, but this is the best special in the game, one of the best special games in the game right now. Literally by itself with Torpedo carries the Thunder to X tier. Not saying this one will be X tier, obviously, but I can see this being an okay niche at just spamming Baller and just throwing Fizzies and just being basically just a piece of shit, basically. Just again, spamming armor, spamming Fizzies, and just, being annoying and just painting the whole map. So, yeah, I think this would be a good kit for the weapon. And, alright, I guess now we'll move on to the Bamboozler, another weapon which has not had the best time in this game so far. Go ahead, Evan.
This is probably one of the most interesting kits out of all the weapons I have. I'm on this and thought about it, and I've come to the conclusion. This thing, right? Because it got Burst Bomb in the first game. Look what happened. It made the weapon that much better. I think Burst Bomb, the point in doing that after another sub-weapon came out in about October, which kind of just broke the game. And that sub-weapon being Fizzy Bomb. It gives it even more possible combos than the Burst Bomb can. It paints the map that much more, which is really good for the Bamboozler. It gives it another mobility option. It just does everything good for the weapon. I think Fizzy Bomb would be really good for the Bamboozler, and it'd give it a chance in this game because the main weapon is underrated. Like the main weapon is really good, but it hasn't had a good kit in this game. Give it Fizzy Bomb, and now for the special weapon, it's gonna have the same kit as the Glugas. Let's give it ink armor. Now let's not make it too ridiculous because the main weapon does paint a lot, giving it We don't want armor to be 180 because we don't want another broken armor weapon in the game because we already have enough of those. That's just cancerous. But I think if we make armor for this weapon, maybe about 200, 190, maybe even 210, around that area, around like the H3. Yeah, I think 200 would be a good sweet spot. But yeah, fast. It wouldn't be getting them too slow. Better than the other two. It just has a good kit. And it actually has one that's possible to actually do something in the meta. Because, I mean, look at it. Look at the Klugas. Klugas aren't doing too good right now. They still are behind, like, the best two armor weapons, in my opinion, being H3 and Kent's Undercover. And they still have their places. I think if you give Bamboo this kit, it could honestly even be better than the Klugas, and I'm not even kidding. Because of its killing power. Now that it has main power up, it's going to be even more insane with Fizzies. It's going to have a lot of combos. It's going to paint the map good. It's going to do a lot of interesting things. So I think this kit would be really good for Bamboozler. Yeah, moving on to Dan's opinion.
Alright, so the Fizzies are good on it, not going to lie, but I prefer for it to get Burst Bomb. The reason I want to get Burst Bomb is, okay, so Bamboozler already deals a really good chip damage. But what it has not been able to, and with main power up, it's even better. But what its first two sets have not given it they just have not given it the sub-weapon to finish off the chip damage or just, like support that chip damage. Now, Curling Bomb, you could say it can do a bit, but it's still not really good. And Toxic Mist doesn't even deal damage. So, obviously, Burst Bomb deals a lot of damage, since if you're good at aiming with your Burst Bomb, you can get 35 to 60, and that basically means, like, 1 or 2 shots, you get a kill. So, pretty much, I think if we just gave Bamboozler a Burst Bomb, this thing could just, with main power, could just get insane kills. Just, like, even if you're getting rushed, you could just throw a Burst Bomb to 2 Burst Bombs on the ground. 2 Burst Bombs on the ground and just shoot once. You can even get a kill like that. It just make the weapon way easier to get kills with than the other kits, and it would be really strong for it. Now, for special, I am thinking Rain. The reason I'm thinking Rain is because I'll get on to the synergies with the rest of the kids later, but in general, I think this thing, if it gets, like, not too many points for Rain, like 180, 190, this thing could get Rain pretty fast and just not spam it, but get it pretty decently. And then with Burst Bombs and the main weapon, like, if like they're trying to rush through a Rain, or like you use Rain on zone, or when you're pushing, anyone that's in Rain, you can just throw Burst Bombs at them. They're going to be weak. It can even pick them off. Same thing with your main weapon. And because Rain also slows down players because it puts little pellets on the ground where it literally makes it hard to move around. The main weapon and the sub will just benefit really well with Rain. So I think if it gets a bit low points for special and nothing happens to Bamboozler with main power up, I think honestly this kit it won't be meta, but I think it could be a really strong niche. So I guess now we're going to be moving on to the Cherry H3. So go ahead, Evan.
Even after talking over this literal episode that we are filming right now yesterday, not at the time that you'll be seeing this, but maybe, but yeah, cannot decide which kit I want to give it. So I'm just going to throw it out there. Possible kits that I wanted to get that could both pan out really well and help the weapon. Being Splash Wall and Baller, and the second one being Toxic Mist and Inkstorm. Of these sub-weapons are probably the next best thing you can give the thing. They only make sense. Like, if the H3 doesn't get one of these sub-weapons, it's probably going to be dead. Slowing enemies down, it would make it easier to hit the clips. And even if you miss one of your trigger pulls, because they're in Toxic Mist and they're running out of ink and they can't move, you're going to be able to shoot another again. Splash Wall doing the same thing. If you miss a trigger pull, it's okay because the enemy can't shoot at you because you have a Splash Wall in front of you. And Wall, I mean, look in the first game. It worked really well in the first game. I think it would do the same here. Splash Wall, arguably, maybe not being as good of a sub-weapon in this game. With the buffs it's gotten, it is definitely still like a pretty strong sub-weapon, and it would definitely help with the H3. Now, if you give it Baller, your typical midline kind of a kit. You sit behind a Splash Wall, get some picks, paint the map, and then you push in with the Baller to get zone, or to push in Clan Blitz, or to maybe stop the push and Rainmakers, for heck's sake. I mean, this thing could work in a lot of places. It probably wouldn't work everywhere, but it definitely would be really strong on zones and Clan Blitz on most maps, and it still would have a niche on some maps for Rainmaker and Tower Control. Maybe not being ideal, but it'd still be very strong. Now, for the second kit, Toxic Mist and Rain, this probably would be a more flexible kit. Splash Wall and Baller has is that it could be more powerful in certain modes, whereas Toxic Mist and Rain, it could just work everywhere. Not having too many strengths in any mode. Maybe being a bit weaker in Tower and being a bit stronger in, like, say, Rainmaker and Clan Blitz. But still, this thing would be very flexible. And I think either way, give it one of these kits, this thing is going to be another strong midliner in this game that doesn't have ink armor. And dies anytime soon, this would just rise up that much more. So let's give the H3 a second kit, give it another shot in the meta. I think that either of these kits would be very strong for the thing and help it out. Strong picks for a lot of maps and modes. It'd be interesting. But yeah, I still cannot decide which one I just would rather have. But yeah, moving on.
All right, so I was never really too much interested in the Splash Wall and the Baller for the H3, but I definitely have to agree with Evan with the Toximist Rain set. It'd be really good on H3. First of all, let's run over Toximist. So the H3 is a weapon that you need to be good at aiming with. So with main power up already, that helps you a lot with your aiming. You know, maybe when someone's weak, you only have to do 2 shots instead of 3, or 1 shot instead of 2, yada yada yada. Now with Toxic Mist, it makes it even easier, because when you throw a Toxic Mist, your enemy's going to be stuck there for a second or so, and they're going to be pretty on a standstill. So what you're going to be able to do is you're going to be able to move up on them and just get a trigger pull. And, you know, like, even if you miss, you'll still get a second chance. And what I mean by miss is, for example, you get only 2 of your pellets, and you only have to hit 1 of your pellets because of main power-ups. So, in general, I think Toxic Mist would just be a really good thing on H3. And in general, just be, like, make this, you know, drive it away more with H3 from its more midline support role, and just give it a bit more of a midline aggressive type feel, because the H3 in general, it can get kills. But just its first kit sucks, and the H3D, it has a very supportive kit. But this kit, with the Toxic Mist, would definitely be able to help it, you know, get a bit more aggressive, get a bit more kills. Then the Rain even helps us even more, because Toxic Mist and Rain is a deadly combination, because being stuck in Rain plus Toxic Mist while getting shot at a H3 that can aim with main power-up is basically like getting shot by like 15 machine guns at once. So it'd be really good for maybe a mode like Splat Zones, because Rain's really good on Splat Zones. Toxic Mist can, you know, just block out part of the zone, and general H3 can play. Sorry about that. It can paint pretty well. And another thing this can do is for comps is, for example, if you don't want to run a H3D and you want to run a Kunder instead, you could run something like this and pair it up with a frontliner on zones. And then, because obviously Kunder paints insanely well, and the H3 paints insanely well, like, you would basically have insane map control and insane zone control. Disruptors, not disruptors. You know, actually, you know, before we continue, quick heads up to this, to the people watching this. If I ever say disruptor and I do not correct myself, don't I mean Toxic Mist. I'm too used to saying disruptor. All right, let's continue. So, basically, with the Toxic Mist and torpedoes, it'd be insanely good, because if someone's stuck in Toxic Mist, it's really hard to get out of the way of a torpedo, because it's pretty fast. And then with the in general, just Rain and Toxic Mist mix well with torpedo. So I think it'd be a really good combination in the meta, and I can definitely see if this thing gets this kit, I think it could be pretty strong. So, yeah, let's move on to the Squiffer. Go ahead, Evan.
For interesting weapon that hasn't had a good kit in this game. It's as good of a main weapon as Bamboozler, if I'm being completely honest, but it still has a chance if it gets the right kit. It's gotten 2 good. It's gotten 2 very good specials, but it sadly couldn't capitalize off of it due to the sub weapons it got, which were not being bad, but on the Squiffer just doesn't really help it that much. Point sensor. Do I even need to explain myself? All right. This thing, Burst Bomb. A lot of initial damage. A lot of just bam, there, 60 damage. It could allow this thing to partial charge. It could help it paint more. It could do a lot of things. Like, at this point, I probably don't even need to explain myself on the Burst Bomb, but I think it'd be very solid for the Squiffer. For the special, I was debating. It already got 2 really good specials for midline, so there's not really much you can give it. But I came to the conclusion, let's give it Inkjet option. Let's give it another spacing option. It has a lethal sub-weapon and special weapon. I think it could capitalize off of it, like, very well. Because, I think one of the Squiffers in Splatoon 1 got Inkzuka. I mean, it wouldn't be too far off. I think it'd be usable. To it having Inkjet, it might have you might see it get a little less use because of just all the front lines using the inkjet or inkjet just not being as good right now. So, like, why would you use a Squiffer for the inkjet? Or a Squiffer main that can, like, really just use the weapon to maybe not its full potential, but you can definitely use the weapon and be scary with it. This is even more of a scary kit. Like, a lot of Bamboozler players would be very happy with this kit. It burst bomb just helping it out in an insane amount, allowing it to partial charge for the first time to get kills. It would be pretty insane, and it would paint a lot too, and it would have a very effective special to keep slowing and keep getting kills. Now that's what I think for the Squiffer. Let's move on to Dan.
All right, so Brenno's a good pick, yes, but I believe that first of all, not only a bit more of a realistic choice, but also still a very good sub for it would be Toxic Mist. So, yeah, 2 Toxic Mists in a row for two picks, but yeah, don't judge me. But basically, I think Toxic Mist would be really good for this one because one thing a Squiffer sometimes gets screwed over with is its range, because a lot of other chargers obviously have more range, or in the case of very random, but in the case of the GooTuber, the main weapon can just move up really fast and just get snaps like that. The Squiffer can't hold charge for that long, and again, doesn't have that much range. So, you don't compare our charge, and so I think giving a Toxic Mist would help it out a lot in the sense that if someone's trying to run away, you could throw a Toxic Mist, and then just, they can't move that fast, so you'll be able to catch up to them and, use your range and get a kill. Because, again, this thing's still a one-hit kill, and it can hold a charge for a bit of time, so I think with a Toxic Mist, it would help it get more kills, make it easier for it to, aim and get kills again. So I think it'd be really good. And then, for special, just to copy the good old vanilla ballpoint, I'm going to give it Inkjet as well. The reason I'm going to give it Inkjet as well is because, Toxic Mist and Inkjet is a really insane kit, just was given to the wrong weapon. And I think if you just throw, 2 Toxic Mists, this could even work in zones, maybe. For example, or just when you're pushing the objective, you can throw 2 Toxic Mists where there's a lot of enemies, and they're going to be passing through because they're getting shot at. A bunch of crap is happening during a push, and you can just pop your Inkjet and you can get easy kills with it. So I think if this was giving Toxic Mist and Inkjet, I think it'd be a really good combination of the special and sub, the sub and main weapon. I think it'd be a really good kit, and it wouldn't be meta because of obviously Inkjet frontliners, but I think if this was the set it was given, I think, Squiffer mains would be happy, and, people that are really good with Squiffer could even, use it sometimes and actually do good with it. But now let's move on to the NZAP. All right, go ahead, Evan.
All right, my pick for NZAP. Let's give it a somewhat similar kit. The weapons of Splatoon 1, of its fellow weapons in Splatoon 1. Weapon, I want it to get Sprinkler because everyone's thinking it's going to get Point Sensor. There's not really much else you can give it. It just hasn't really proven it can capitalize off of the lethal bombs. And maybe if they give it Physio Torpedo, because, those are the new sub-weapons, that could work too. But I think Sprinkler would just be solid because it's been a very solid sub-weapon. I don't know how long. And before October came around and the broken sub-weapons came out, probably the best sub-weapon in the game. It just paints the whole map. If you get in a one-on-one fight with it, throw it down, bam, your enemy has a distraction, they have to shoot it down. Valuable time away, which could give you a couple frames to even, shoot them, get some initial damage on them before they even start shooting you. And help it get kills. Doesn't seem like it, but the Sprinkler is very good at distracting, is very good at annoying. And if you reset it, like most players don't do, but if you reset it, it's that much more effective. And another reason I want to give it this sub-weapon is because it really helps it capitalize off of the special weapon I'm going to give it, which is a lot of people want this thing to get Baller because it's similar to Kraken, and then the Sprinkler being similar to what the NZAP, well, it would be the exact same sub-weapon they gave the NZAP 89 in the first game. Still up a good Ink Strike. Yeah, it would really help this thing get Baller. It would, I think if they make the points for special reasonable. And I think this would give baller front lines an actual chance in this game, because if you look at it, there hasn't really been too many good baller front lines besides Kensadou's. 52 dead. They give it point sensor, and the main weapon just wasn't as good in this game. Many others right now, and there's probably a reason for that, because they're all not good besides Kensadou's. I think if they give this sprinkler baller, it'd be good to push in and clam blitz. It'd be good for zones. This thing is a painting machine. It'd probably be a good niche in zones, actually. Wouldn't be its best kit due to the 85 having armor and the suction bomb helping it get armor and spacing. Space is just as well, if not even better. And because it's always there, unless the person shoots it. Unless someone shoots it, the sprinkler is going to be right there, and it is not going to move. It would beat the baller fast. I think it'd be a very interesting kit. It would definitely have a shot being viable. I think it'd definitely be viable. I don't know about being high tier though, because due to the main weapon itself hasn't really beginning Splatoon 2 when there weren't that many weapons in the game yet. But yeah, that's what I want for NZAP. Let's move on to Dan's pick.
Alright, so it's going to be another crazy kit that probably a lot of people are not going to agree with. But to start off with, now, we've seen it obviously get Suction Bomb before, and the vanilla kit Suction Bomb is really good for it. And Auto Bomb is still a good sub. It was just given a horrible special. But I think what I would like to see on this would be a Splat Bomb. Now, I think a Splat Bomb would be better than a Suction Bomb for the NZAP, just because, like, okay, it explodes faster. It still has really good spacing. It still paints pretty okay when it explodes. I think it would be really good for an NZAP because, you know, people are approaching it. It helps you. Okay, let's make an example. Let's think of a frontliner that has Splat Bomb, T-Tech, and how has that gone for T-Tech? Really well. So I think if they give an NZAP, another sort of basic shooter, the Splat Bomb, I think it'd be really solid for it. And I think it would just help it out in fights a bit more than the Suction Bomb would. That's pretty much it. Then for the specials, now this is where it gets a bit weird. I'm thinking Bubbles. Now, I know what you're thinking. All right, what the hell? Okay, so let's see what happened to the other Bubble frontliners. So, Kensa Jr. All right, at Torpedo, well, guess what? The Kensa cover just came in and just said, fuck you. And then you had armor, and then you had Bubbles, and then you had Bubbles, which it didn't pop him that fast and just wasn't that good. So, that sort of just dropped down over time. Then you had Kensa Roller, which is Splat Bomb, which is weird on a roller, and then it couldn't pop Bubbles that fast, so it wasn't that good. Although people might disagree, who knows? But I think on an NZAP be better because the NZAP is insane fire rate, and I think with the Splat Bomb, which is way better popping bubbles than a torpedo, I think it could help it just get pop bubbles really fast, and yeah, I think it'd be a pretty good bubble frontliner to be able to get zone fast. It could spam bubbles. Again, Splat Bombs will help it fight. I think it'd be pretty solid. It wouldn't be meta obviously, but I think it'd be a pretty okay niche pick. If you wanted like a frontliner to pair up with your classic Ketsudulas or T-Tech. I don't think it would even be that bad. So, yeah. I guess now we're going to move on to another weapon that has been thrown to the ditch for a while now, the Ink Brush. Alright, go ahead, Evan.
Ink Brush. Another weapon that really hasn't had a good kit. If they gave the baller version an actual lethal sub-weapon, scary that weapon could have been, but they gave it Ink Mine, so sit down a whole lot. This thing sub to have a chance of being good. It needs to have a good sub. It absolutely has to have a sub to support the main weapon. Because if it doesn't get that, you're only getting special so many times a match out, and you just don't have range. The Ink Mine was just a terrible thing to give it. I think of this saying, weird pick you might think, but yes, Curling Bomb. Just think, it would be the best moving weapon in the game. It'd be the fastest moving weapon in the game. It'd have insane mobility. It would just glide around the map. If you pair it with Ninja Squid, this could be Hero Roller 2.0, except it might even be better due to the special I'm giving this thing. But also could slightly help it out in fights because the thing's still lethal, even though the weapon, the sub weapon itself, did get nerfed months ago, which did drag it down quite a bit, but it is still very strong, and it still can get kills. If you hold the button down and make it not go that far, that could bomb mode where you hold the button down and it just like goes a couple inches and explodes. help it out in fights if you use it correctly, but it would definitely be really hard because it does take a good second to two to actually charge it up and throw the crowing bomb. So that might not be ideal. It'll kill pretty decently if you're right up on someone. And besides that, it would paint the map insanely. Crowing bombs would only help it that much more. Due to the main and sub weapon being able to just get out of a lot of bad situations due to the sub and the main weapon just being able to run away. It would have insane mobility. It would just help it out in getting out of a lot of situations. So if you do think you can like approach someone for that easy kill, and it turns out, okay, yeah, you don't have the advantage, you're about to die, turn 180, throw the curling bomb, get out of that. There you go. Just little things like that be insane. Like, I think it'd be insane for this weapon, and it would just be like brushes half the time, just like freaking gliding around the map, and it still paints really well, so it would help your team get map control. Now, get rain. Now, a lot of people want burst bomb on a brush, and I would agree that would pair up better with rain. But the idea of curling bomb was just too insane in my opinion because it would just move around so fast. It would help, you know. You could just toss it down lanes, you know. You could do all that stuff. Good combos with rain with it. Because, say you tick damage someone, say you throw it, and it partially explodes the person, and they get partial damage from it, and they are at the same time in the rain. I think this frontliner getting rain would be better than other frontliners who have gotten rain, because of its insane mobility. This thing could move with the rain. It could shark inside of the rain. And if you trap people inside the rain, you could just flick them a bunch. There you go. Easy kills. It's like, the idea, in my opinion, it'd be insane. Not too insane. It wouldn't be that good. But I do definitely think I have a chance at being the best ink brush, and this could be decently viable. Not even kidding. But, yeah, I think the rain would really help out with its poor damage, and then the curling bomb just helps its movement that much. And you might think, well, just give it burst bomb, because it doesn't even need curling bomb in the first place, because the thing can already move so fast. But curling bombs just help it out that much more. Like, it's a constant trail of ink. It that much of your ink tank, to be honest, either. It's just a safer way out, and it just helps it in a lot of situations. Wouldn't really. But, yeah, either way, if you give this thing burst bomb, it would still be really strong. I think the curling bomb idea was pretty wacky and insane, though. But, yeah, this is the kid I'd like to give it. Let's move on to Dan's pick.
Alright, so I'm going to be obviously thinking the same as Evan. Curling bomb, because like he said, if this thing got curling bomb, it would literally just move around the map like it's nothing. It'd be able to just, literally, 1 second you could be on one side of the map, the other second you could be on the other side. And I think what it could do really well would be able to fake out opponents. For example, you know, you're behind a wall or something, and your opponent is like a charger and they have ranger stuff. You can just throw curling bombs to like each side, you know, go one side and throw a curling bomb. You can just confuse them, because if you're wearing Ninja Squid, especially, they don't know if you're going through the curling bomb. They don't know if you're coming around. They don't know anything. So if you just consistently do that, eventually you're going to be able to get around, kill the backliner or whoever you're trying to kill. And that's how you could do it. Or again, like Evan said, also you can just hold it and then just drop it on people's heads. That can work in some situations. So I think curling bomb would just be really good for it. Now, instead of rain, though, I think this thing should get inkjet. Now, obviously, the reason they should get inkjet is because, first of all, it's the Emperor's kit. That's one thing. And another reason I think that it would be really good for the ink brush, because the ink brush can paint really well. So if you can just get your inkjets and just spam them decently, you could be just, you could be just gliding around the map. You could just get inkjet and just glide to one side of the map, use inkjet, and just glide back once you jump back. You'll literally just be moving around the map with portable inkjets. It would be insane. It would just make this. And another thing you could do, even, right, before you start a push to hide your inkjet, maybe you can pop inkjet. No, actually, wrong way around. You could throw a curling bomb, pop inkjet, hide in your ink, just pop out of the ink out of nowhere, just start killing people. It'd be really unexpected. Because no one expects an inkjet to come out of a curling bomb. That just doesn't happen normally. So I think if it got this kit, I think it wouldn't be meta again, but I think it would be probably the best kit out of all the ink brushes. I think it'd be pretty solid at killing, and it would have its own little quirks that it could use to outsmart some enemies. And if you're a good ink brush, I think it'd be really good. Now let's move on to Evan's favorite Sheldon pick, the Soda Slasher. All right then.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Evan.
Pretty biased towards the Slasher because I use the thing quite a lot. I haven't been able to lately, sadly, though, because of how it definitely isn't as strong due to cough cough cancel machine, cough cough Nintendo please nerf. But anyways, as besides the point, to get Burst Bomb. Between Splat Bomb and Burst Bomb, they'd both be really well. I'm not even gonna lie. If it gets Splat Bomb, I won't be mad. But Burst Bomb, it just helps secure kills that much better. The burst canceling, again, it'd come back from Splatoon 1. They'd put it on the Slosher. It'd be so interesting, and I just love it. And then if on top of that, it helps it paint that much more, even though the main weapon paints decently. But Burst Bomb helps any weapon paint, so that's good. And then if they don't make the points for this special weapon too ridiculous, I think it could definitely be up there with the Slusher Deco. I'm not even gonna lie. It could be like on some maps, like this thing. This is probably okay. Yeah, this is probably like one of the 2 to 3 to 4 weapons out of the whole Sheldon's picks that actually has a chance at being like meta. It's gonna sting Inkjet. Help it with slaying. Help it with spacing. Slaying special weapon. Maybe not for long though. Maybe not as of right now. That all depends on your opinion. I don't even really know if I would say it's still the best slaying special in the game, but it's definitely still really solid. And since this thing has the ability to get aggro with Burst Bomb, it could get even more aggro than the Slasher Deco because look at its kit. And it's a 2-shot kill. Like this thing would be insane. It has the range. It has like for it, and it could be scary on a lot of maps. It just depends. It honestly depends on the kit it gets. But I think it could capitalize best off of this kit. What I'd really want. This is what I really wanted to get. Being a old Slosher player, former Slosher player, I still play Slosher. Some situations, like I love this weapon. So from my experience, if this gets this kit, like it is going to be insane. But yeah, Dan, your opinion?
All right, so I'm stuck between 2 subs once again, and I just can't make my mind because both of them just have one big like pro for them. So first of all is obviously Burst Bomb, like we said. So the big pro for Burst Bomb is that Slosher plus Burst Bomb is insanely good, and would just bring the Splatoon 1 vibes back. Now the other sub that I'm stuck with as well is Fizzy. Now you're gonna see with the special. If this thing gets Fizzy plus the special I'm going to give it, it could probably just take Kenta Machine out of the meta. Because Slosher in general, like, first of all, in our Ranges machine, they both paint around the same. And I think in general, like, a good Slosher would definitely be able just to take out a machine pretty easily. So, if it got the special that I'm obviously going to mention now, which is Inkjet. If this thing got Fizzy Inkjet, for example, it would literally just... Kenta Machine is gone. Like, maybe not completely gone, but, like, this thing would just become the better option over it. Because it's really just a Slosher, again, that outranges it. It still paints really well. It still has Fizzies. And then Inkjet's just over Splashdown any day. So, it would just be insanely good. But if it still got the Burst Bomb, again, Splatoon 1 vibes, it'd still be really good. So... yeah, like, personally, I want to see it get Fizzy Inkjet, but I'm also putting the Burst Bomb there because I just can't say it. I just can't say I don't want to get Burst Bomb because Burst Bomb is still it's just that good on the Slosher. But, yeah, now we're going to move on to literally the meme / the trumpet, so on. All right, Evan, go ahead.
And here we have one of the last, but, definitely least. We have the Sploosh 7. Sorry, Sploosh mains out there, but yeah, this weapon's bad.
It's garbage.
Anyways, Okay, so moving on to the kit. I think the kit I'm giving this thing easily, not even a challenge. It would easily be the best kit this thing gets. It would probably have a shot at being viable, like the Sploosh 7 and Splatoon 1. Not great, but it would be viable, unlike the other two picks. Now, what I want this thing to get in, I haven't given any weapons torpedo. Okay, disclaimer. As of right now, just how I only gave one of the weapons, one of the new subs, and I only gave let's see, the new specials. But again, okay, disclaimer, this is our opinion. This is just what we want them to get. It's not necessarily what they're going to get. I'd really like these weapons to get these kits because we think they'd be interesting and we'd like to see how they'd work out. And team play, in the meta, all that good stuff. This is what we want. So before you go in comments saying, Evan, Dan, why does no weapon have 10 missiles? You guys are trash. All right. I want to hear it. All right. Just don't do any of that. This is our opinion. This is what we want the weapons to get. We obviously know there's a very low chance of, honestly, any of these weapons getting these kits.
Yeah. Probably
because I
think honestly the only one that's probably possible is the Burst Bomb Inkjet Slosher. That has a chance, and the NZAP kit that you made. Other than that, I think every single other one we're gonna get absolutely wrong, and Nintendo's gonna just pretty much pull out a middle finger on our asses. But
yeah. Right, anyways, moving on to the Sploosh. Torpedo, I think, in my opinion, is the best sub-weapon it could get. The main weapon already paints a lot. Torpedoes paint a lot. It helped that much more. It helps it with fights. It actually helps it go in, believe it or not, because if you throw the torpedo and it tracks someone, they got to shoot it down. That could give you time to rush the enemy and go up and kill them. If it's not a backliner, well, I suggest not doing that because that probably wouldn't work anyways because you have a long way to go to even get close to them. But yeah, it would help it out in a lot of situations. It would help out teammates. Torpedo is just a really solid weapon to give this thing. Torpedo probably being one of the only sub-weapons to give this thing a chance at even being viable. Now, every range problem this weapon has, the torpedo fixes it. And that's why this would actually be pretty solid on the thing. Now, for a special, more spacing, more slaying options, more ranged slaying options, which is always good for a sploosh, because that's why the Neo was so bad. You give the thing beacon, it has no sub-weapon to space out with your range. And yeah, you could use 10 missiles to distract the enemy to use that to go in, but 10 missiles aren't even effective. Half the time they don't get kills. Inkjet does. This would be so much better than both Splashdown and 10 missiles. This would easily be the best kit it gets. And yeah, Inkjet, I mean, one of the best slaying specials in the game. It would help it with a short-range weapon like this. It would get them fast because this weapon paints a lot, make it like 170, 180 for Inkjet. You got yourself maybe actually a somewhat viable weapon. Now, if you do make this 170 for Inkjet viable because of how good it spams Inkjet, I'm not even going to lie. And yeah, that's pretty sad, and we don't want that to happen because, weapons that are only good for their specials, it's not really that fun. But, I mean, it gives this weapon somewhat of a chance. Because, this is, in my eyes, this is, one of the only kits you can give it that could actually give this thing a chance. And, these are my picks. Take a good look. Yeah, these are all of my picks. Now, wrapping up the episode, Dan, what do you want on Sploosh?
All right, now, again, honestly, yeah, just to make Sploosh work, the only way to really make it work is either give it Torpedo or the next best sub in the game, Fizzy. Because, again, these two are the best subs in the game. They literally take every other sub and throw them into a ditch. So, I think Fizzy would be really good on this thing because it would help you close the gap. It would help you move up. It would help it paint even more than it already does. It helps fix a bit of its range problem because eventually yeet Fizzies over to other people that, it can't reach. It can actually work a bit as a distraction because if you just Fizzy spam and then just move somewhere else while you're getting chased or while you're trying to push someone, obviously they're gonna have to back off the Fizzy, so they obviously are gonna try to pay attention a bit more to the Fizzies than you. So I think physics would be really good in this thing. It would help it fight. It would help it move up. It would help it be a bit of a more distracting. But now for special, okay, so you gave it Inkjet, which is obviously, really good. But I'm telling you, next patch, Hammer's going to get buffs, and it's going to make it pretty okay. And what I mean by that is make it, viable and pretty good at slang. So, because the buffs it did get are pretty okay, but it still needs to get somewhere to make it good. But yeah, I'm thinking next patch when these things come out that the Hammer is gonna get some buffs. It's gonna be pretty okay. And I think especially with the Sploosh, very hyper aggressive weapon. I think if you just like in a push, you just throw 2 fizzies and then just pop Hammer. I think you just really just have a push starter right there. The paint to move up with the Hammer. And obviously, Hammer can be really good in some maps like Manta Maria and stuff. It can help it, you can get killed. If it gets probably, right now, is honestly, you can secure kills if you're good with it. It does paint a bit. And near the end, the throwing part does help it, just be a big distraction. Because I think it's been hard to shoot a Rainmaker or shoot the tower, stop pushes, when there's a giant-ass fucking Hammer being yeeted at you from, I don't even know, the South Pole. So, in my opinion, I think this would be a bit of it wouldn't be as good as Evan's kit, but I think it would still be pretty good and would probably, just help it get, a spot in, a B tier, so it's not trash. But, yeah, I guess that's all
yeah, guys, these are our versions of the Sheldon's picks. If you were to ask us what we wanted, here you go. And, yeah, okay, so any disclaimer to wrap up the episode. These are our opinions. Number 1. Number 2, we obviously know this is not, these kits there's such a low chance of these happening because, as you can see, I didn't even give any weapon Hammer. That's bound to happen. I only gave 2 weapons Booyah Bomb. I only gave 1 weapon Torpedo and 1 weapon Fizzy. I gave 4 weapons Burst Bomb. It's very unlikely, but these are what we want. Number 2, okay, so next thing. Evan, why did you give almost half the weapons Burst Bomb? And not only that, but if you think about it, Burst Bomb is, again, a high tier sub. It does instant 60 damage no matter what. If you hit the person, it does 60 damage. You don't have to wait for it to explode. It does instant damage as soon as it hits something. So, that being said, it's just insane, and it helps weapons paint. It does a lot of good things. Before Fizzy and Torpedo came out, the best specials in the game, and it still is, even behind Torpedo and Fizzy. But, yeah, so you get that. And not only that, but all the Burst Bomb weapons in this game, better kits and better alternatives. So Burst Bomb weapons haven't really had a chance to see daylight in this game. For instance, the Splatter Shot, it hasn't really been good since Splashdown was good. And it's just there's just not that many weapons with Burst Bomb that are actually in the meta. And I think if we give some weapons that actually have a chance at being good Burst Bomb, that could stir it up a bit. It could a new space for some interesting kits. It could be the rise of weapons with Burst Bomb. If you give the range and the Slosher, in my opinion, have the most potential with the Burst Bomb.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, that's my take on everything. So yeah, that's just one big disclaimer. Yeah. Just don't be.
Don't.
It's why no tentacles? Don't be why no Stingray? But yeah. Anyways, Dan, any last things you'd like to add before we wrap up?
Well, all right. So in the description, we're going to be having the link to the SI or Static Intelligence public Discord server, and in there, if you scroll down, there will be a discussion chat where you guys can talk to us about what we said in this video and our kits, and you can you can put down your own kits and explain us why they're good in your opinion, or argue against our kits, and we'll have time to reply when we're awake and stuff, and being able to get talking stuff. So yeah, join the Discord server.
Yeah, that will be located under the SI podcast and discussion category. We have a list of chats where you can talk to us about our opinions. Again, not just for this episode, any episode. You can just, talk to us about our opinions. I'm down to do that. This is episode 1 of the Running on Low Egg podcast. Evan and Dan's,
Hope you guys enjoy.
Tune in next time when we discuss the
meta.
Maybe some more meta.
Yeah. Right now we're pretty much thinking about maybe talking about the midline meta, but we'll see. All right. See you guys.